My name is Stevie Richards, and I'm the owner and founder of Stevie Richards Fitness. I started Stevie Richards Fitness with one simple mission statement: to help others. I know what it's like to be injured. I know what it's like to be hurt. I know what it's like to be in pain each and every day of your life. I also know how to modify to overcome that pain, to overcome that discomfort, to overcome your injuries. And that's why I created the programs I did at Stevie Richards Fitness. Every single exercise has a modification. Everything can be successfully completed, no matter your age or fitness level. And that's what I infused in the 12 and 16-week resistance band training programs to pass along to you at an affordable, accessible price. Believe in yourself because I believe in you, and I'm here to help you every step of the way.
This is the Voices of Misery podcast. This show isn't for the easily offended, so PC police on patrol stand by. You've been warned. Now let's join the nerd and nerdette with another podcast for that ass.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the Voice of Misery podcast. I'm the nerd, and we have a special guest today. I'm not going to take too much time in this intro because we went a little long with our guest today. A little over an hour and a half with our guest, Big Ray Hernandez. You guys may know him from various wrestling websites, and he's also one of the producers on Upbringing Media. This man knows a lot about wrestling, life, and he's very entertaining. We had a great time talking to him, and we definitely appreciate him coming on the show. And we have some other good things down the pipeline in the Voices of Misery. So thank you, Big Ray. We appreciate you, man. We love you, and we hope you guys dig the show. Leave some feedback and 5-star comments as always on the iTunes. And yeah, man, let us know what you think. We got some more things coming down the pipeline, and we appreciate our big guest, Big Ray. Yeah, man, he's a good friend of the show, and we hope you guys dig it. So check it out. Here we go, Big Ray. Voices of Misery podcast, and guess what? We got Big Ray on the line, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Sexual Innuendo himself, Big Ray. I wish you guys could see. I kind of wish we were live on Twitch right now so they can see how beautiful this man is.
Oh.
I am so jealous of that bald head. Oh my God, I'm jealous of that.
Well,
I just shaved
razor, man.
I just shaved mine yesterday, and it feels like horrible.
I just want to tell you guys really quickly. I'm sweating like a billionaire standing around a bunch of 14-year-old girls. It is so hot in this apartment right now.
Was that a Jeffrey Epstein pun? Because he's been all over the place lately.
I'm just saying any billionaire in general.
Now, why do you think that is, man? Like, why do you think a billionaire would need to be around 14-year-old girls? It's like, you have all that money. You can pretty much have any woman you want, no matter how old you are. Why 14-year-old girls?
Well, that's why. I mean, the thing is that you can have anything you want. So, what are you gonna go after? You're gonna go after things. Why do you think fucking Mike Tyson, when he was making all that money, had a fucking pet tiger?
Just because he could, probably.
Exactly. So that's why a billionaire can go, look for 14. Not that I'm condoning, because I think it's the most disgusting thing in the world. It's an atrocity. But they can do whatever the fuck they want. They want to go. Hey, yeah, that 14-year-old kid looks cool. Let's bring him to this private island, feed him pizza, and have terrible relations with them. That's what they do, man. I'm not saying all billionaires are like that, but we can talk about this down the line. I worked at a very famous address here in New York that is synonymous with the most powerful people in the world.
Shit, please elaborate. I want to hear some more about this, man.
Well, if you guys ever jump, by the way, if you guys listen, so you people out there who don't know who the fuck I am,
everyone knows who you are. You're Big Ray, man.
No, nobody knows who the fuck I'm nobody. But listen, just so you guys have an idea, I am a producer and on-air talent at Upbringing Media, where you guys are. By the way, we love you guys. You guys are sponsoring us this month, and I believe, possibly, maybe, hopefully, for the next 7 months. I don't know if we have that on.
For 7 months.
I don't know if we have that.
Pocketbook.
Don't worry, you could pay us in fucking what is it? Cryptocurrency. But listen. So basically, I've been doing this whole wrestling / whatever producing for like 10 years. I started, and we can get into this down the line because this has a lot to do with my dad. So we'll talk about this later. But I've been working with a very legendary boxing photographer slash editor, pro wrestling. He used to run this magazine called Pro Wrestling Illustrated, Bill Apter. He's very, very famous in the world of professional wrestling. And this guy is a legitimate legend. We can talk about that later on. But I moved into doing this with Ben. You know, we're doing a little conspiracy, a little fucking wrestling, a little MMA, a little bit of everything, man. But I just wanted people to have an idea. You know, I'm not just some fucking, you know, I mean, I am some motherfucker just off the street. But I got to tell you, man, this is so much fun. I do this for the love. And I'm so fucking happy to be here with you guys. And I'm so happy that we made friends with you guys and have established this really cool partnership. So I really wanted to get that, you know, off my back. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I too have had a few beverages. I know our esteemed.
Yes. What are you drinking?
Yeah, come on, man. Don't hide it.
I saw your cup.
Okay, so this is, by the way, this is a huge, one of the big, now I'm a big son of a bitch. So this may look small in my hands, but this is a, how many ounces is this motherfucker? I think this is the 64 ounce, no, how many ounces? I don't know. It's like a 32 ounce, maybe bigger than that. 42. Anyway, so it's a 42 ounce cup, a Dunkin' Donuts cup, and inside this cup, I have a mix of Malibu coconut rum, some Sky vodka, and a little bit of tropical fruit punch.
Jeez.
That's and I'll say half of it, or more than half of it, is ice and liquor.
My boy.
Absolutely. But anyway, you asked me a question.
Yeah.
What were you asking me before?
Don't think you're going to get away from this because you're plugged in with a lot of conspiracy people. Your best friend, or one of your best friends, Billy Ray Valentine, is really plugged in. So I got to ask you about this Epstein thing, man. What is he dead? Is he alive? You guys have like a direct like bat phone into all this crazy shit out there. My wife and I, the nerdette, we don't know anything about this. So we are going to turn it over to you, the expert. What the hell is going on with Jeffrey Epstein? What is the situation? Is he dead or not? Did the Clintons kill him?
I'm gonna some breaking news right here. First and foremost, Billy Ray Valentine, who is a good friend of mine. We actually worked together as very young adults. When I say young adults, I'm talking our early 20s at the Gap at the World Trade Center. That's actually how we met, and I'll let him tell you that story because I have spoken to Billy Ray Valentine, and he would love to come on as a guest. When you talk about conspiracy theories, people that are in the know and people that know that world, I would say I'm at just a little over the novice level. Billy Ray Valentine has spoken to presidential candidates, people that have been affiliated with the deep state, so on and so forth. So that's a person that you can ask a really good, deep question. And if you say 9/11 to that guy, he will take you down a rabbit hole that you will never, ever climb out of, by the way. And I have to ask your audience out there, and I know that nobody can respond right now because we're not live on Twitch. But, you know, now, nerd.
Yes, sir.
You have a fucking sexy voice, man. You know that, right?
Oh, my God. Stop saying that.
I really do. And you want to know something? We were talking about your voice, actually, the other day. You are a man of many different voices. The way you did the intros.
Oh,
and we're going to play the third one of 4 tonight. How the hell do you get your voice to sound like that, man? I am jealous.
Well, my father... Oh, man, I'm going to talk so much about my dad during this podcast. My father was an amazing... he's a singer. I don't know if you guys know. I've actually I started singing when I was very, very young. I've sang I've sang in front of hundreds. I've sang in front of a couple of thousand people in New York, out of New York State. That's how I really got comfortable in front of a lot of people. I grew up in the church. I grew up in my school, my middle school. Our choir was one of the top choirs in New York State, and we used to travel all over the place singing. So a lot of people don't know. People at Hami Media know that I sing because I actually did a gimmick where I put forth a little bit of a Christmas thing together where I sang some of my favorite Christmas songs, and it was I put it up on.
Sing Elvis.
Excuse me, you sing what?
You sang some Elvis at one point. I remember being very impressed. I've been listening for a while, man.
Well, listen. Now this is the question I wanted to ask your audience before you ask me about this Epstein thing.
Okay.
Audience out there.
All 6 of you.
All 6 of you guys and gals.
Wait, 1 died, 5.
Oh, shit. All right, well, it's fine. It's fine. I wonder if Clinton had anything to do with it. But anyway, If I've been also told. Now, my fiance Jennifer, who's in the other room right now, she's actually watching The Color Purple, the movie, and it's a 2.5-hour movie. I told her I'd be in here for quite some time, so I'm doing this. But she loves my voice, and I've been told by women, by females, and by certain men, by the way, and I don't discriminate. If you guys like me, cool. but how can your audience take two unbelievably sexy voices?
Oh God.
And that's something I was worried about today. I was figuring that we were going to break the internet tonight. So, we have special filters on our microphones because we don't want to, ooze out too much sexiness. So I actually have a voice distorter. Mm. So, yeah, it's really not going to bleed out too much. So I hope that women listening, because we have a very large contingency of women listening, I hope they have a towel ready to sit on.
Oh my God, I can't deal with two of you at the same time like this. It's wow.
First, that's what she said. Let me tell you.
Oh my God. See? This is going to be a long podcast.
We need another woman here because I feel like you're getting the harsh end of two men.
Wow. You could take that to so many different levels. Jen would come on, but she's a little shy when it comes to this. She's actually she's my best friend in the world. I love her to death. She's my fiance. Hopefully, God willing, if everything works out and she doesn't sleep with a black guy, will be getting married around 2020. But anyway,
say stuff like that when I'm taking a sip of my drink. I'm gonna spit it out on the computer screen.
Sorry about that. So you asked me about Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes, sir.
Now I worked at this building, 740 Park Avenue. If you guys right now want to pause this podcast and Google 740 Park Avenue, which is or search on YouTube 740 Park Avenue documentary. This is the building that is located on Park Avenue around 71st Street. It's a New York City. What do you call those buildings that they can't tear down because they're super important? And it's a landmark.
There you go.
It's a landmark. I worked in that building. That building is
a big building, man.
You can Google. What's that?
Oh no, she pulled it up and now she's showing it to me. Holy shit, that's a nice building. Yeah. All right.
Here's the thing. That's a beautiful building, has a beautiful facade, but just like the deep state, everything looks beautiful on the outside, but the inside is black and disgusting. And I was able to see and work around some of the biggest and most powerful people in the world in that building. And I can say names because if you just Google it, it'll tell you who the fuck lives there. But I'm talking about people like the Lauders. If you ever use perfume, Estee Lauder, the heir of that $1 billion company lives there. The Coke Industries. One of the brothers lives there. Vera Wang lives in that building. So, and just a couple of names. But working in that building I was able to see, and it's so funny. I was able to see, and it's funny that the Democrats usually end up walking through the doors of that building asking for money all the time. But that's neither here nor there. That's a rabbit hole. I'll let Billy Ray down. But you asked me if Jeffrey Epstein is dead, and I keep dancing around that because I think you guys need to understand that I have a very deep thought regarding this. And, talking and being affiliated with all these people that are really, as some of the kids nowadays will say woke, but, but this is the Matrix. And I believe that the world, we've all been pulled out of the Matrix, or a good portion of us have been pulled out of this virtual Matrix that has us bound to believing a certain thing, like the Democrats are good, the Republicans are bad. Listen, they all fucking suck. Everybody sucks. Oh, absolutely. They all suck. And I'm not going to ramble on, but do I believe he's dead? No, I don't believe he's dead. I believe he is. Now, man, we could talk about this for hours, but there is something called the Clinton kill list.
Oh, yeah. I heard about this one.
And I do believe that he was on that Clinton kill list. Now, this is, again, my personal opinion. I believe he is on that list, but I believe, just like Billy Ray Valentine has stated on the Infinite Fringe, his amazing podcast, that there is still something they need him for, so they are keeping him alive. But I believe he will eventually be killed. But the person that they pulled out of that prison, I do not believe was him.
Okay, that makes sense.
Well, they didn't show any pictures of him, right? Mm-hmm. Mm. No one's seen his dead body yet.
Oh, they actually have.
Oh, they have?
And this is why I say he's not dead. Now, can I message you guys on Facebook while we're on here?
Well, please do.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is while you guys are talking, I'm going to go through one of my pictures. Now, this picture will show Jeffrey Epstein alive, and then they're gonna show Jeffrey Epstein being carted out. Now, this was a secret picture taken. Nobody knows who took this picture, but what you're gonna see in this picture are two very different Jeffrey Epsteins, and this is why I say this. Now, when a person is alive, right? When you're alive, dead, whatever, beaten, it doesn't matter whether you're beaten, whether you're thrown down a flight of stairs. One of the things that do not change positions, does not change shape, may change color, are your ears, right? Am I wrong?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, neither here nor there. So I'm gonna send you, and I'm trying to fucking locate this goddamn picture, but I'm gonna show you this picture.
Well, go ahead. You find the picture, because I wanted to kind of add on to something that you said about, the Democrats being good and the Republicans being bad. Now, we're both minorities, we're both Puerto Rican. We got family from Puerto Rico, obviously. Now, do you remember growing up and that was the narrative that was pushed, oh, you're a minority, you have to vote Democrat no matter what. They're for us. The Republicans are evil racist. And it's the older you get, the more you deep dive into the whole thing with, Democrats, Republicans, and just reading, articles and kind of educating yourself, becoming more woke, as, you mentioned, as all the kids are saying now. It's the cool thing to say. Do you kind of see yourself coming out of that and kind of see yourself more aligning to the right and almost feeling like you've been lied to your whole life?
I've always felt that this world is corrupt, period.
Look at that.
No, I sent that to you. You guys see it? Why don't you describe what you're looking at right now really quickly?
One of them looks mangled. It looks kind of like a UFC fighter's ear, like cauliflower. The other one looks normal. It's holy shit. They really do look deformed, like two completely different ears.
Look at the position. Look at the nose.
Yeah. Holy shit. And I'm not trying to be funny here, but the first one looks like Ric Flair, and the second one looks like Epstein. It really does. It looks like two completely different people.
Now, I understand that they say that he was beaten, and I know that they claim that he had killed, that he had hung himself. And we can go down the whole, and I'm tired of beating this dead horse with, whether security guards were supposed to be watching him. Listen, the fact of the matter is when you have a high-profile billionaire in a federal prison here in New York State, there is no way, after the man just allegedly tried to commit suicide, there is absolutely no way that they would pull him off of suicide watch. That is bullshit, number one. Number two, even if he wasn't on suicide watch, he is a billionaire, high-profile prisoner that still had a chance of getting out because apparently he was going to appeal this, and yet they're not going to be watching this guy. They're not going to notice this guy putting a blanket around his neck and choking him out. His fucking cellmate, who apparently they put him back in the cell with somebody else, was listening to his iPod or whatever the hell he was listening to, and he didn't notice the guy hanging off of his bed. Are you kidding?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Now I did read something as well. Apparently someone put a post out on maybe it was Twitter or one of the other social networking websites where the guy said that he was there, maybe not there in general, but he was in that prison, and that like police officers and guards would check every 9 minutes.
Yeah,
they would check the cells. So why was he left alone so long? And how would you kill yourself in 9 minutes? It just doesn't make any sense. None of it does.
When you're on suicide watch, it's if I'm correct, it's every 9 or 30 minutes. Let's say every 30 minutes, a guard has to come by, but you are under 24-hour surveillance via CCTV, which is video camera. Come on. So basically now there's no way of covering this up. So now what's happening? You notice that the mainstream news now is like, well, there's some discrepancies here where we think that there's a possibility that Jeffrey Epstein may have been killed. No shit, fucking Sherlock. No fucking shit. Now, what angers me is, okay, immediately people are pointing fingers at Donald Trump for some reason. Okay, now, is it a possibility that he may have had something to do with this? Because I have many thoughts on Donald Trump. And I wouldn't, like I said, this is something that you could talk to Billy Ray Valentine, because I don't want to spend the whole podcast talking about this. But, do I think Donald Trump in the beginning wanted to make, as stupid, as crazy as he was, do I think the guy really wanted to make genuine change? Yes. Do I think now he's playing ball? Absolutely.
Right, because 2020 is right around the corner, man. You better start playing ball, or your backers are going to go another direction, he was put there for a reason. And he kind of went rogue for a little bit. And I think he's kind of getting reeled back in now so he can get reelected in 2020. But Oh yeah, but I do want to move off of this whole topic because, just like you said, Billy Ray Valentine is the expert on this stuff, so we're definitely going to ask him. But I want our audience to get to know Ray, and I want to get to know Ray a little bit more because I've been listening for a long time. Look at that look! Look at that look on his face, man! Don't you just want to smack that face?
Oh my God! Let me stop you right there. Jennifer loves to smack me.
Oh boy!
During or after?
Oh my God!
Doesn't matter, and I love getting smacked. But she smacks me across my face. She goes, "Why'd you do that for?" And she goes, "Because you're so fucking cute."
Oh my God!
I love it.
Take it.
All right. So before you became Big Ray, you were Little Ray, obviously, right? So I want to ask you about growing up with a father who was a professional wrestler. Did he travel a lot? Like, how big did he make it in wrestling? And was he always home? Like, this is something I've always wanted to know. We're talking to a son of a professional wrestler. So how was it, man?
Well, here's the thing. When my father wrestled, I only got to see him wrestle into my toddler years. My older brothers got to see him wrestle a lot more. I did notice that my father wasn't home a lot during the weekends, like Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. My father also, he would travel with my uncle. My uncle was his tag team partner. My father was used to wrestle a lot in Puerto Rico, and then he would come to the United States. Well, United States. He would come here to the East Coast. He would wrestle from New York down to Florida. He would wrestle some in Philly, Pittsburgh, so on and so forth. And my father would travel a lot, and he was more of a weekend wrestler because he also had a full-time job. He was working in the warehouse at Kmart. But my father wrestled for this promoter by the name of Valentino. And Valentino, God rest his soul, he used to have a lot of Latino wrestlers, especially here in New York City. And then the guys from New York, he would send to Puerto Rico as well. I think he sent some guys to Mexico. And it was crazy. It was crazy seeing my father come home and not understand why he would, because he was so big and strong, and not understand why he couldn't really walk as well at some times, and why, Dad, let's go out and play. Let's go out. Papi, he would tell Papi, my back is hurting, my knee is hurting. I didn't really fully understand until I actually went to see him as a toddler, watch him wrestle. And back then, guys, you have to understand, these are. And by the way, you asked me how big my father got. He never really got too big, but he did train with the guys that became like him and Johnny Rods, who's a WWE Hall of Famer. He trained with him. He worked for very briefly for Carlos Colon, and he was El Leñador, which is the lumberjack. My father was a heel, and my father's a very interesting person, and the reason why my father is a hero to me, and people will say, oh my God, another one of these motherfuckers that says their father. Yeah, my father's a hero to me because my father came from Puerto Rico, very poor. He was abandoned by my grandmother, who made things right down the line, but he was abandoned by my grandmother, and he was basically living on the streets until he was adopted by this family. And when I say adopted, not legally adopted, but just they took him in Atlantic City, New Jersey. This African-American family took my father in, and they lived in a farm. And they raised my father on the farm in Atlantic City. My father came back. Apparently his mother, my grandmother, wanted to get back in the picture. And he came back to the Lower East Side, where he would become one of the warlords for one of the biggest gangs in the Lower East Side of Manhattan. They were called the Latin Gents. That was a prelude to the Latin Kings. They would go up against guys like the Bishops that were all and you would have to do your research to look up these names, but the Bishops were an all black Lower East Side gang, very big. The Boppin' Barbarinos, who were an Italian gang who became later affiliated with the Latin gangs, with the Latin gangs. And my father came out of that, and I don't want to talk too long or too much on this, but
oh no, please go ahead. This is very entertaining.
Cool, but my dad, check this out. My dad was a kick-ass guy. He was a big guy. He used to, oh man, I don't know if I can say a lot of this, but he used to collect. All right, so Jesus.
He used to collect money. Was he like the knee breaker guy with the baseball bat? Like, did he collect the cash or what?
Well, here's the deal. My father had 3 girlfriends at the same time, and one of them ended up being my mother.
Oh.
And this is a fact. And my grandfather on my mother's side was a Puerto Rican man with blonde hair and green eyes, and he was very, let's just say he had a lot of friends in Little Italy growing up, in the Lower East Side. And my father, when he started dating my mother, got involved with that world, collecting money for my grandfather and running numbers. Does that make sense?
Oh, of course, makes plenty of sense. I've watched quite a few movies in my life.
Yeah, but this ain't a fucking movie.
No, exactly. Like this. No, this is the real deal, man. This is awesome.
And let me just and I'll fast forward a little bit. My father was always he was always a strong guy, always a tough guy. And there was this guy by the name of Al Gavin. Again, God rest Al Gavin's soul. This guy, if you Google Al Gavin, he is a Hall of Fame boxing cut man and one of the finest trainers I ever had the pleasure of fighting under. And my father, my brother Ricky, we all fought under Al. Me for a shorter time, but my brother Rick and my father both went pro. And my father was basically taken in by Al, taken off the street, and my father became a professional fighter. I think I might have sent you some pictures of my dad, or a picture or two of my dad in Madison Square Garden. If I didn't, I will send them to you. Hair. Did I send them to you or no?
Oh, yeah. He had a beautiful head of hair. That's why I'm looking at you and I'm like, what the hell happened?
Well, I'm bald by fucking choice.
I know. I'm just screwing with you.
But and I know so are you, right? Am I wrong?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Let me Nerdette, you've been very quiet. Let me ask you a question, Nerdette.
Yeah.
Do you like a bald nerd or a hairy nerd?
I've never seen him with hair.
Really?
Yeah, we just got together.
Never.
When we first got together, I had a little bit of hair.
No, you did not.
I had a little bit of hair.
What, a goatee? That doesn't count. He's always shaved his head. We've been together 14, 15 years. He's never had hair.
Well, it's just easier to maintain. I wake up in the morning and I don't have to do shit. I get out the shower. I just run the towel through my head once and I'm done. And I get the hell out and I'm finished. I don't have to be beautiful.
Is it the same gimmick down below too?
Yeah. Sometimes. I mean, it's a special occasion when she goes down on me.
Oh my God!
Well,
what's happening?
Speaking of that, I got to tell you something. I can't wait to finish this podcast because as soon as we're done with this, I'm going to jump in the shower and I'm going to suck on my woman so good.
Oh my God!
So wait, she's watching The Color Purple. I mean, that's not the kind of movie that gets someone in the mood to have fun afterwards. That's a very depressing movie. I'm pretty sure, I haven't seen that movie in years.
I've never seen it.
Isn't it like movie, like you cry at the end or some shit? Like, I know Oprah Winfrey's in it and someone dies and Whoopi Goldberg's in it.
Yeah, but what better way to bring her out of her funk? But anyway, let me get back to what the hell I was telling you about.
Please do.
So long story short, my father boxed, and he was actually a contender. He was very good. But the problem was back then in the 50s and in the very, very early 60s, the mob was heavily involved. At that time, he had disassociated himself with that lifestyle, and there were a lot of fighters that were ducking my father. My father was kind of getting screwed. My father was set up to fight Chavalis. I don't know if you know who this is. He was a light heavyweight contender, or he was a heavyweight, and his brother, I forgot his name, God damn it, but he was a light heavyweight. So my father fought him, knocked him out, and they had asked my father to basically not do that great against Chavalis. If that makes any sense.
Oh yeah. Back then, boxing was always rigged. They said take a fall, and you would take payoffs, and if you went against it, you get killed.
Basically. Beat. So my father unfortunately had to stop boxing, but what he did was he started training fighters. And my father had a couple of kids that went to the Junior Olympics. He had a couple of kids that won the Golden Gloves. By the way, I fought in the Golden Gloves, and I didn't go that far. But my father won I won the Spanish Gloves when I was a kid. But my father and my brother Ricky were very, very good. But my father started training fighters, and the same shit happened where my father started having fighters stolen from him by people that were offering them more money. And it sounds like a movie, but the fact is that's exactly the way that business is. It's a dirty, dirty fucking business, guys. And so my uncle was wrestling for Valentino, and my uncle's the guy. I don't know if I sent you the pictures. The guy in the mask, and he was the high flyer of the group, and he needed that big bruiser. If you were wrestling fans, I guess you would say my father was the Jim Neidhart to my uncle's Bret the Hitman Hart. And they ran the territories, and they won titles, regional titles, and they did really well until my father decided to. Now I know that you guys are not religious or whatever, and my father, I'll give him this. My father was never a religious man, but my father was what I called a true Christian, and this is the difference. See, my father left that lifestyle, and he gave his life to Christ. That's what he did. My father became a minister, and then later a pastor of a church here in the Lower East Side. And through that ministry, my father would develop other ministries. One of them, was called the Broken Chains Ministry, where my father would go to some of the baddest prisons, and he would also go to South America and some of those prisons, and he would preach the gospel. He would help people, find jobs. Or my father was just an amazing person. He would also, he had a great program where he would legitimately, with his own hands, help the homeless people here in the Lower East Side of New York City, up to the Bronx, into Brooklyn. And my father, you know what I loved about my father? My father, again, wasn't religious. My father was a real Christian. And there's a big difference between crazy guys that want to pull you, nerd, off the side of the road and ask you if you love Jesus, and somebody who actually shows you how Jesus is supposed to love you. Does that make sense?
Oh, that makes perfect sense. And I'm sitting there smiling as you're saying that, because I don't consider myself religious, because I'm not, obviously, but I do like to do the right thing by people. And Nerdette and I have had this conversation off camera, where we've always bought lottery tickets, and we always talk about, like, hey, if we win this, what are we going to do? And the first thing I always say is I want to do something for kids in the neighborhood. We live in Myrtle Beach. I want to build like a community center, swimming pool, something to get kids off the street and do something. Because there's so many kids in our neighborhood that run around. They like 12 o'clock midnight. They cause trouble. They ring doorbells. They break windows and shit. They break into cars. And it's like, give them an outlet. Give them somewhere to expunge their energy. And that's always the first thing. It's not buy a car, buy a house. So I consider us good people. It's just we're not religious. And I don't think you have to be religious to be a good person. And I don't think you're a bad person if you don't have religion. So if that makes sense, It
makes total sense. And the fact is that anyone who's not religious, anyone who is, let's say you have a person right now that's listening that is a Christian, okay, or a Catholic or Muslim. The thing is that, you can be a good person. There are a lot of, let me put it this way. There are a lot of religious people that, in my humble opinion, have a special place in hell. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, God, yeah. Joel Osteen's one of them.
Oh, let me tell you something.
He blocked me on Twitter.
I cannot stand that man. And you know why? My father, now the church that my father was a pastor for, and he later retired, and even in his retirement, my father was walking around. He needed to help people. My father would go to the hospitals and just visit old people and visit sick people and sing a song to them, or read a passage from the Bible, or just sit with them and listen to them. And my father was just such a good man. And he was a tough son of a bitch too. And the reason why the prisoners, when he used to go to preach to the prisoners, the reason why the prisoners would listen to my father was because my father was there. Because what I left out was that when my father was a gang member here in New York City, my father did time. My father was put away, let's just say, for almost 2 years for, let's just say, weapons possession. Okay. And my father took the heat for somebody that was at a higher. It's almost like fucking. You ever seen Goodfellas?
Oh hell yeah! Who hasn't?
Where this kid had to get pinched, and he took the heat for it.
Oh yeah.
My father paid his dues. He did it, went to prison, lived that life, And listen, guys, it wasn't easy for us because my father was the only one working. And, he still found, I don't mean to get emotional.
How'd your mom make ends meet?
I don't know. And I got to tell you guys something, man. There was never a Christmas that I didn't get what I asked for. And sometimes I look back on it and I wish I could kick myself in the ass, because if I understood the value of $1, this is why my son understands the value of $1 now. I would have asked for a hell of a lot less, because my mother and father gave me everything and I have no idea how they did it. My mother used to babysit on the side to make ends meet. And I'm over here asking for a fucking $89 in 1988 Mario Brothers 3 game. Are you kidding me?
Well, that's the problem with hindsight as well. I mean, I remember my mom was a single mom too, because my dad and her, they had separation when I was a lot younger. And I remember asking my mom for all this and that and the other thing. And I was the mistake of the family, like my siblings, the youngest sibling.
Yes, would you stop saying that? You say that every time.
I mean, my youngest sister's 13 years older than me, so I guess I kind of was a mistake. But the thing is like, whenever Christmas came around, I always wanted everything. I wanted, like the Sega Genesis, this game, that game. And if I didn't get something, I'd be upset. But now in hindsight, I'm like, she was a single mom. She worked a job that paid her $10 an hour. She worked overnight, third shift, 40, 50 hours a week. And now I appreciate her more now than I ever did before. So it's like, don't blame yourself, basically, because you were a kid, you didn't understand. But now you do. And you look back and it's like something that I hope our kids
These kids
understand.
ask for expensive shit every year.
And they get it.
I know.
Every time.
So we're not teaching them shit.
Yeah, we're not.
But so does mine. But the thing is that I'm in a position right now. We're gonna talk. You said you wanted to talk about my whole job situation later, but
we're definitely gonna hit that because that also brings a nice light over Hami Media because they came together, and we'll talk about that later. But yeah.
No, but that's basically it, man. Like I look back at my dad, and it's cool, man, to look back and say, my father, like I loved wrestling, guys. Like my father took me to my first wrestling match. I believe it was, and I'm gonna fuck this up, but it was Madison Square Garden, if I'm correct, in October 1985. I was watching, I saw Andre the Giant, Macho Man, Randy Savage. Ooh yeah, dig it, Tito Santana. I saw and I remember the main event was the British Bulldogs, if I'm correct, against Greg Valentine and Bruce Beefcake, if I'm right. But there was a segment that made me fall in love with wrestling. And we're going to talk about wrestling because wrestling is a big part of my connection with my father and what I'm doing now and what we're doing all now together. And my father took me to MSG and I saw this man being interviewed by this other man. And the guy doing the interview was loud. He was boisterous. He was smart and quick-witted and nasty. And he was wearing a skirt or a kilt. And his name was Roddy Piper, and he was interviewing this old man, this big, beefy looking, ugly, balding a little bit, wearing a terrible sweater, but a guy with a very thick accent. And I said, Dad, who is that man that this guy is talking to? And my father turned to me and said, Papi, he used to call me Papi. He says, Papi, that man is the Muhammad Ali of professional wrestling. That is Bruno Sammartino. And Roddy Piper proceeded to beat the living shit out of Bruno and hit him with a steel chair. And I thought that was the fucking coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And again, you have to understand. I had seen my dad wrestle, but I never kind of put two and two together. I never saw my father wrestle in front of 10,000 people in Madison Square Garden. This was different. This was a show. This was amazing. And this totally captivated me. And my father said, after we almost got hit with a beer bottle and after, we were catching contact from people smoking marijuana in the fucking top section of Madison Square Garden, my father said, he goes, Papi, I will never bring you here again, but just because of this experience, I'll get you cable. You can watch all the fucking wrestling you want. And that's how I fell in love with it, man. Seriously.
Well, my first wrestling experience, when my dad, I used to go to his house in Scotts Plains, New Jersey. I used to go to his house on the weekends, and we were watching wrestling, and I remember watching The Ultimate Warrior. He was my favorite guy growing up when I was like a kid, like before I knew what wrestling was.
Of course.
Like, man, he's fucking badass. The song was badass. I was a big rock and roll fan back in the day, and the dan, he'd come running down the aisle and the face paint. And then my dad was like, I'm going to take you to this show. It's coming to the area. And he's like, circle on the calendar. I circle on the calendar. It's going to be an MSG. We can take the train right up there. I'm ready to go. I had a sign made and everything. I go to my dad's house on the weekend, and I go there, and I'm like ready to go. I got my sign, and he's like, yeah, we're not going.
What?
Yeah, exactly. So I was crushed at that point. So I stopped watching wrestling for a few years. Fast forward like 2 or 3 years later, there was a match on TV, and that match I'll never forget. I was watching with my mom, and it was Shawn Michaels versus the British Bulldog for the Intercontinental title. Ooh. And it was the match where I think the British Bulldog got whipped into the corner. The top turnbuckle was exposed. He hurt his back. He tried to superplex Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels landed on top. 1, 2, 3. Shawn Michaels is the champion. To this day, after that match, Shawn Michaels is my favorite wrestler of all time, man. The greatest, the GOAT.
You got a tattoo on your arm.
Yeah, I actually have a Shawn Michaels tattoo, and I'll send you that picture later. I actually have a Shawn Michaels inspired tattoo because I did a little bit of wrestling. I got to a very small level of it. I actually wrestled against Jay Lethal in the backyard before he became big, and I was telling Jargo that story.
I was gonna ask you because I was trained. See, my brothers. All right, so funny story, and I have a ton of stories. We could do a 3-hour fucking podcast, but I'm not gonna do. But
I think we do 9.
But my father my father actually trained my brothers just in case we kind of really wanted to get in the business. But he trained. He, like I said, Al Gavin was my trainer. His son took over when I got a little older. But my father was basically our trainer, boxing. Cool thing about my dad, he was actually a very good judo player, and he was my father was legit. He was a black belt in judo, and my dad, tough son of a bitch. My dad again would teach us judo. He taught us boxing. He taught us pro wrestling. And technically, if you looked at my dad was an original MMA guy, which I love MMA. And
Hell yeah.
And you're telling now I never got to work in front of a big crowd or anything like that. I never really got to work in front of anybody. But have you ever? I heard you talking about this. Now I heard you were trained as well. Were you also trained? Because you were talking about watching the pay-per-view with the Nerd Ed, and you were saying that you can kind of pick out the mistakes and the kind of fuck ups during these matches during the SummerSlam review you guys were doing, right?
Yeah. Well, there was a thing in Jersey All Pro Wrestling where,
Okay.
and Jay Lethal and I actually backyard wrestled a couple of times together.
Cool.
And my friends hooked up with him, and there was this thing where they did like a Tough Enough competition. And we went to Bayonne, and there was this Tough Enough thing, and we all showed up there. We're like, "Hey, Jay, what's up?" And there was a tag team called the Hit Squad, and they were the trainers. And we went there. We were running the ropes, doing all that bullshit, and I was sitting there smoking a cigarette afterwards. And one of the Hit Squad guys lit me up in the ring with chops because he's like, "Don't do that. You're disrespecting everybody." And Jay Lethal won that along with some other kid. I can't remember what the hell his name was, but he won. And afterwards, Jay Lethal kind of gave word of mouth, and we were able to go as well as a couple of friends of mine, and we were getting free training. And then we got put on a couple of shows in Jersey All Pro, like we were like the job guys. But it was pretty cool though, man. Like just to be a part of the show, and it was just fun. And afterwards, you go out and hang out with some of the guys. Like we hung out with Teddy Hart, who was a freaking blast. Yeah, a real asshole.
Hold on. I was about to say that he is he's fucked up.
Yeah, like we hung out with him after a show once, and like I was in the opening match, and of course I lost. And afterwards, he's like, "Hey, man," he's like, "You're the cleanup guy, right?" Or like no, And he's like, "Well, afterwards, like we're gonna do some cocaine out in the limousine, and Sabu's out there." And Sabu was even booked on this show; he was never there. And he's like, "Yeah, if you guys go out there, there's a limo and all these." And we're like marks at the time, we're just like brand new to the business and whatnot.
Right.
We went out there, and we weren't allowed back in. He basically trapped us to go outside. And the guys wouldn't let us back in because he didn't know who the fuck we were. So we're just like these guys out there going out and wrestling and just getting beaten in like 30 seconds. And he's like, "All right, go outside." We left, and that was it. He's a real piece of shit, man. And that Teddy Hart's a real fucking dick.
I can't stand Teddy Hart.
Very talented, though. Very talented. The guy's a really good wrestler, but not a nice person.
And I couldn't give a fuck if he knew it or not, because I have a very good friend, Andre Corbill, that's very close with that family. And, the funny thing is, like, all right, so let me put it this way. And now I'm not listen, and for everyone out there, there's always somebody that can kick your ass. Just remember that, okay? But a lot of people, I've dealt with a lot of people that are keyboard warriors, and then they've met me in real life, and they're like, "Oh, shit, like, you're a fucking big dude." And I'm like, "Yeah, and I will kick your ass." But I'm a nice guy, though. Like, the other day in my job, you want to hear a really funny, quick story? Hey, Nerdette, you want to hear a story?
Sure.
So the other day in my job, right? So my real job, I'm a doorman here in New York City, but I also am training to become a building super. So I'm getting my certifications as a handyman here in New York City. So I'm wearing my handyman outfit or my uniform, and this dude comes up to the door, right? And it's a big black dude, bald head, and I guess he had it was a Friday night, and he's asking me these questions, and I'm like you, nerd. Like, all right, you can talk to me or whatever, but just let me fucking do my job. Let me just leave me alone. I'm just there to earn a paycheck and go home and just am I wrong?
No, hell no. Of course not, man. I fucking love this shit.
So the guy is fucking talking shit to me and just going off, and he starts poking me, like physically touching me. And
hell no, man. You only get one of those.
And I told the guy, like, stop. I said, "Listen, what do you need? Do you need help? Is there anything I could do for you? Because I don't like you touching me." He goes, "Oh, you don't like me touching you?" And he slapped me in the stomach.
Oh, man.
And I let that go. God on high. Yo, this is what I'm going to do, nerd. I'm going to take, because we have the CC surveillance, I'm going to try to copy that video on my phone, like take a video of the video on the screen so you can see what I did to this guy.
Hey, wait. Before you go any further, I have something for you, too. Now, I work in retail, right?
Please
Now, this
don't.
is a retail. Come on.
Please
he has to
don't.
hear this story. All right.
You're such an ass.
So I work in retail, and this woman comes in the store with a baby, and she doesn't buckle her baby into the baby seat. She picks the baby seat up and flips it upside down, and the baby falls on its head. But
Nice.
the baby was okay, so it's okay to laugh at this.
That's
and I
not
will
funny.
trade you videos.
Nothing
Surveillance
wrong
videos.
with that. Nothing
Oh
wrong.
my God, there's
And-
something wrong with both of you.
I gotta tell you something. I've mentioned this a couple of times. There's some times that I just sit in the train here in New York City and I just want to punch a Mexican baby in the face, and I don't know why.
Oh my God.
This video, and I'm going to pass it back to you after this, is affectionately titled "Dropped Baby," and we will trade later. So
Okay,
there
we'll
you-
do that. And by the way, I've worked retail too in the past. I like I said, I worked at the Gap. I worked at Marshalls. I worked at Old Navy. I did retail. I was actually the there's so much shit I've done. Oh my God, I was the loss prevention guy, which eventually turned into I was a private investigator for about 8 years. I don't know if I told you the guys that.
God, man, like we can do another fucking podcast on private investigating.
Maybe I'll come back on with you guys because
You need to.
that shit, dude, I did insurance fraud investigations and infidelity cases. That I work for a company. I'm not going to say the name of the company, but I'll just say it's R and Associates. I'll leave it like that, and I'll tell you guys off air what the name of it is. And they're in Long Island. I'm not going to say specifically where it is, and that led to me doing bodyguard work for them. So I did that for some time. But anyway, so I'm standing at this fucking door, guys. All right? And this fucking guy, so now he's poked me a couple of times. You know, a couple of times his spit probably landed somewhere around my
that's
forehead.
disgusting.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
And then, you know, this fucking guy gives me nerd. You know what an open hand slap is, right?
Oh, of course. Oh yeah, those sting.
Right here, a chop to the chest for no fucking reason. So I don't know what the fuck he was thinking, but he went to reach for me somehow, and the minute he fucking, I wish we were on Twitch so people could see what the fuck I'm doing. But the minute he reached for me, I took my hand and I grabbed his stupid dirty wrist, and I cuffed the inside of his arm here, and I came over and I just gave him a sweet throw, like just like Dad taught me. And that motherfucker flew a good 4 feet into metal scaffolding.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's awesome.
He got up, and I stood over him. Ready, and I said, if you come by me, I swear to God and your mother, I am gonna break you into pieces. Walk away. The guy started walking. I said, I swear to God, I'm having a bad fucking day. Walk away. And the guy just started, he was walking away, he was cursing, yeah, go Guam, suck your mother, and all this fucking shit in his Jamaican dialect. And I said, yo, dude, talk all you want. As long as you fucking say it up the block, I don't give a fuck. And that was my day. And this is what happens.
Did he say bumbaclot?
Oh, yeah, he did. Bumble Club, Blood Clot, this and Blood Clot, that, Guam, suck your mother, all this crazy shit. And,
Hold on.
you know, people, like I said, I'm a nice guy. And I think you and I, nerd, are very similar.
I think so too, man.
I think this is why we get along, because I have a dual personality. I will legitimately give you the shirt off my back if I can, man. Seriously, I will. God knows my heart. I love humans. I love animals. I love animals, by the way. But I love your fucking animals. I don't love my animals.
We have dog. Hey, I just sent you a video. I want you to check it out. I want you to check this out right now because
Holy
it is.
shit! That is a big penis.
Oh my God.
It's not mine.
Oh, whose is it?
But while you're watching that video, look at this reaction. I love it. I fucking love this. So yeah.
Look. That's not okay, man.
This is the video of Drop the Baby. It's amazing.
It's not okay. He sent me this immediately after it happened, laughing his ass off. And I'm like horrified. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I have a question, Nerdette. So you know you're a mom, right?
Yes, I was horrified.
So after you've dropped your kids, right? Like kissing them and holding them, that makes the concussion go away?
Listen. Let me tell you my side of the story. He calls me and he's like, I'm about to send you a video. It's so freaking funny, blah, blah, blah. He sends me this video. And I said, please tell me that she left the store and she brought the kid to a hospital. Nope. Still sitting there getting done whatever she's got to get done with the baby crying and puking.
The baby puked all over the place. It had fucking like this. This is how Ted Bundy was created. He was dropped on his head.
Seriously, I can't.
This baby's the future Chris Benoit.
That hurt to watch. Ugh.
So check this out. I'm gonna send this video to my friend Mike Hawes if that's okay. He's a wrestling promoter in California.
Oh, please do it. Send it.
And he is he sends me he continues to send me videos of these very beautiful women with big breasts, and all of a sudden they turn around and have bigger cocks than I do. He finds that to be very humorous and funny.
Someone tried to trap me with one of those at work one day. It was like, hey, isn't this girl hot? And they kept saying, isn't this girl hot? Isn't this girl hot? I'm like, no, dude, it's a fucking dude. And he goes, well, how do you know? Because you're trying to fucking trap me into saying, yeah, this girl's hot. And then they turn around, they got a pair of balls.
Just ask him, is that your mother?
Well, God damn it, man. Time's flying right now. So I do want to get into certain things I wanted to talk to you about, Ray. Mm-hmm. So Bill Apter. Now, I've been reading his shit, and he was the first person I ever had respect for as far as a writer goes. Because I remember the Apter mags when I was a kid, and this is like when the lines started getting blurred for me because I started reading Apter mag, and I'm like, all right, so there's backstage stuff. How do they know backstage stuff? So how did you get hooked up with Bill Apter? And like you guys are really close. Like how did this start? He's a fucking cool dude, man. I used to like listening to his podcast.
He is, and I'm not underselling. He's a legend in the wrestling business. He's also a legend in the boxing business.
Oh yeah.
So Bill Apter, if you guys don't know, he was the editor-in-chief of a very famous wrestling magazine called Pro Wrestling Illustrated. He was so synonymous with this magazine, they used to call those magazines the Apter mags. And so here's what happened. When my father passed away in 2010, that left a horrible void in my life. I had become depressed, guys. And it sucked, dude. Like I was really down when my father passed. And by the way, my father, the way he passed away, it really sucked. I mean, I had worked the overnight shift. I was living in the Bronx at the time. I stayed. I guess it was a blessing in disguise because I got to spend the last hours of his life with him. But long story short, I worked the overnight shift. I woke up to go back to work the overnight shift, and I got to spend a lot of time with my dad that day. And my father was always very loving and affectionate, tough guy, but just a good father, man. And I remember the last thing I said, Pops, I love you, Dad. I'll see you tomorrow. And I drove to work, and like 40 minutes later, I got a phone call from my sister-in-law. And I guess my brothers couldn't even fucking talk to me. And they said, you need to come back home. I'm like, what happened? I'm like, your dad's sick, they told me at first. You need to come back home. And between the time that I left the house and my mom came back from church, because she went to evening service, it was about a 15-minute span. My father fell asleep. Had some type of cardiac arrest, and he passed away in his sleep, and he left me.
Oh God!
And that really fucking sucked. And it's still for some reason I'm very angry about it to this day, because he was, when somebody's just so fucking good. And anyway, so I was fucking depressed, guys. And I said, one of the common bonds that me and my father had was boxing and wrestling. And later in life, more wrestling, because my father was getting sick and tired of all the politics and bullshit of boxing. My father used to make a joke saying that he used to go, man, if I wanted to watch if I wanted to watch wrestling, I just tune in the WWF, because the matches became like they were all fucking fixed by the time me and my dad were watching them in the late 90s. I mean, the late 1990s and the 2000s. These matches sucked, these boxing matches. And anyway, long story short, I reached out to Bill Apter because I started doing little videos on YouTube, nothing big. And I said, Mr. Apter, because I remember seeing him doing on a video. He was interviewing. I forgot who the fuck he was interviewing. Was it Honky Tonk Man or somebody?
He's done so many.
So forget about it. This guy. I'll tell you a quick funny story about Bill Apter after I'm done with this, and it'll take a second. But Bill Apter basically, I sent up a video of me giving my top 5 favorite wrestlers who never won the WWE Championship, and from that moment, he said, "Hey, would you mind contributing to OneWrestling.com and the YouTube?" And it was cool, man. I started doing weekly videos. And I started covering I started covering Monday Night Raw. And then after a while, I said, Bill, this is boring. This is too easy. I want a challenge. Can I cover TNA?
That's a real challenge right there, man.
And he goes, nobody really watches Ray. He goes, but do you think you can make it popular? And I said, Bill, if you let me take over the YouTube channel, just you do your videos. I said, I'm going to make a team of guys that are so fucking entertaining that people are going to have to fucking tune into One Wrestling video. And I feel like I did. I created this group of guys called Big Slam Nation. And
this sounds like a porn.
Well, I got to tell you something. We can talk about that too, baby. I don't know if Nerdette wants to kind of put the earmuffs on.
No. Her earmuffs are off. She's all ready for this. She's down.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later date. But listen, I established this. It's so funny. Billy Ray Valentine reached out to me via Twitter. Now, me and Billy Ray Valentine were friends for about 20 years, and we had lost contact. We had been friends. I think we hadn't been in contact for almost 8 years. And he tuned into one of my interviews or something like that I was doing, and he created a Twitter just to contact me. And I'm not going to take total credit for Billy Ray Valentine, but he'll give me the credit for getting him started in this whole podcast thing. I brought him in to do stuff for OneWrestling.com, and then I brought in this guy named Andre Corbeil. If you can Google him, he's doing some great things in Canada. And we had this great show called the Can-Am Wrestling Show, and that had an awesome following. And then we would do Raw reviews, and we brought in my friend the Professor, who works for Harmony Media, A-Track Brown, who is one of the founders of the PW Hustle brand, and we just had all these really cool, fucking awesome people along with Bill Apter, and I was able to establish and I turned that working relationship into a friendship with Bill. He became like a dad, and damn, I'm going to drag this down, but there was this one guy, guys. His name was Bill Schuyler.
Okay.
And he was also a wrestler. And but he had left the business. He became a corrections officer. And I love this guy. At the end of every show, I do this little gimmick at the end. When I say gimmick, guys, I mean something that like a tagline or something that,
Sure.
For the non-wrestling people that have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, gimmick. But Bill Schuyler used to end every video for us, or every audio thing for us. He used to say, "I'll see you down the road." And we became like, the reason I'm talking about Bill Schuyler, and I'm all over the place, but
our audience is used to it. Don't worry.
Well, that's cool, and I appreciate your audience.
We're all over the place.
True.
By the way, it's one of the things I love about your podcast is that's not just one fucking thing all the time. You guys are all over the place, which is fun for me.
I appreciate that, brother.
No, but it's true, man. But anyway, excuse me. Well, Bill Schuyler, he has such a passion for the business, and with Bill Schuyler, I started this show called One Wrestling Goes Old School, and we was focusing on a lot of the old school wrestling, and we would review old pay-per-views, so on and so forth. And guys, a couple of years into this, just before me and Ben, because me and Ben had started working, we'll get into that, because that's a real fucking good story.
Oh, that is circled on my list of questions right there. You and Ben Hameen.
But as me and Ben were at the time working for WrestleZone, fucking Bill Schuyler got a heart attack and died. And I fucking loved that guy. I remember the first time. It's funny because we were friends. Check this out, guys. We were friends on YouTube. We were friends on Skype. We had worked together for over a year and a half, almost 2 years, and never met each other. And then finally, one day, we all got together in Bill Apter's basement. And I'll send you the video. It's on YouTube. And that was the last time I physically saw Bill Schuyler.
Shit.
We kept doing videos from that point, and we planned to get back together. And his daughter called me while I was at a funeral.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
God. And she says, Ray, I know you've been texting my dad. I need to tell you something. And yeah. So there's a show on the Hami Media Network that's called the Pro Wrestling Reflection.
Very good show.
Yeah, thank you. I have the professor who used to do the show with Bill Schuyler a lot. I have him. He's the guy that I put in charge of that show. I produced that show. And man, that show is my thank you, my I love you, my thank you for everything to my brother Bill Schuyler. And I have to thank Bill Apter because through Bill Apter, I was able to establish a good rapport with people in the world, the crazy world of professional wrestling who, to be honest with you guys, if you guys know anything about this business, they don't let just anyone in. They don't just talk to anyone. They don't just, but they have an utmost respect to Bill Apter because Bill Apter keeps kayfabe.
That's true. That's true. He's one of the only ones out there, no matter how many years and how many people's names in his Rolodex. I mean, he will never let out a secret. He's not like these guys out there like Dave Meltzer. I mean, I'm sure Bill Apter could, if he wanted to. He can make just as much, if not more money than these guys selling information, but he doesn't do it because he respects the business that much.
Easy. And this is the thing I respect about Bill. And the thing I love about Bill is, Bill could easily. And let me tell you something. A lot of the information that I get, that I put over, a lot of the information that I talk about, when I talk about, hey, I heard about this, I'm not going to say Bill Apter tells me, but maybe he does, if you know what I mean. And I'll say 99% of that shit is right. And I will never give up my sources. But again, through Bill Apter, I was able to establish a respect, a rapport, and a good relationship with a lot of people in that industry. And yeah, man, we can talk about, if you want, what happened over at WrestleZone. But
that was my next spot.
But Nerdette.
Yeah.
I keep having to drag you in because I'm talking so much.
You're good. I'm listening.
Well, that's what Jen tells me too, but I don't want to hear that from you.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, ask him about WrestleZone.com because that's where I was going to go next. So it'd be like, how did you get linked up with WrestleZone? Because WrestleZone.com was my website that I used to go to all the time to get all my news, and that's where I discovered.
I don't know that.
Well, that's where I discovered, Big Ray and Ben Hameen. Those guys were excellent back then. Mm-hmm. How did you guys get linked up with them?
It's a funny story because Ben Hameen had been doing. He had done not stand up, improv in Chicago. And that's how we got to know Nick Hausman. And Nick Hausman had wanted to establish wanted to build some type of wrestling platform or work with a very established wrestling platform. He tried establishing relationships with Bill Apter and everybody else, but he found his niche with WrestleZone, right? So now this is the funny thing. Excuse me, guys. So I hear that buzzing. What's
that's him. That is him.
That was me by accident.
So what was that?
No vibrator this time. That was all him.
Was that the vibrator? Was that the rabbit?
All right, there we go. It should be done.
See, there you go.
So now we know.
Now we know definitely that
it's the goddamn iPad. I was looking at the iPad for a minute.
Okay,
that's what it was, guys.
Well, I was looking at that link you sent.
Which one? The Blondie Fesser one?
Oh,
Blondie
Lord.
Fesser, man. And I have reached out to Heather Hunter, and there is a positive reply. So,
you fucking hold on, stop. Let's stop everything.
His favorite porn star, Heather Hunter.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I sent out a little feeler, and I was like, "Hey, I interviewed Sarah J. and I interviewed Blondie Fesser," and she said, "That's cool." And I was like, "Would you want to be on the show?" And she checked it. Hasn't replied yet, but that means yes, more than likely. And my experiences with reaching out to adult film stars. So, if that happens, you better clear your calendar, man, because you're coming on.
Let me tell you something. Heather Hunter, and I want you guys to Google her right now, is the reason why I like my ladies. How can I put this? Light skin with thick curly hair, certain look on their mouth, certain look in their eyes. I can't explain it, but she's the first like crush I've ever had, and Heather Hunter was like she was like my fantasy when I was a kid, man. So that's pretty awesome, dude. If you guys can have her on, I just want 2 minutes with her. That's so I could last probably anyway. Anyway.
Yeah, let's hear about that WrestleZone, man. Because you and Nick Hausman have a history, you and WrestleZone, and that's kind of the birth of Hami Media, was like you guys leaving WrestleZone and starting your own little thing on the side. So what exactly happened there? Because you guys had a really good thing going. I used to subscribe to the podcast, and all of a sudden it just ended. And I was like, wait, where the hell these guys I used to like listening to go? Where'd they go?
Everything I say here is fact. I'm gonna put that out because nobody can sue me because everything I'm saying right now is 100% true. And Nick Hausman can suck my balls if he says it's not. That's number one.
And mine too.
Yeah, yours too. And yours are probably very smooth and pretty. So
they are pretty, but they're not smooth.
Well, those are the ones you sent me earlier?
Yes, sir.
Oh my God.
Cool. No, don't worry. I'm not into him much. Anyway, listen.
Listen, he's into you, so,
Of course.
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Of course. Hell yeah, I am.
Is that a fact?
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah, that's a fact. Let's do it, man.
Oh, man. All right, we'll talk after this. Anyway. So, damn, you got me all flustered.
So this is the birth of Hami Media right here. We're about to hear how this whole thing started, baby.
I'm all hot and bothered.
Need that towel to wipe your head.
So, hey, watch your mouth. I talk like this with Jen all the time, so I hope you guys are cool with this.
No, that's fine.
This is how we live our lives, man.
Seriously, you hear the way he talks to me?
I know, and I do the same thing. Like, sometimes we could be in church, and I'm like, honey, I'm going to fuck your asshole. And she's like,
my God.
She's like, what? Stop.
She's like, stop. She goes like this. She's like, stop. But, like, anyway, you guys can't see what I'm doing. So, one day, Bill Apter was doing a segment on WrestleZone. I forgot what the hell the segment was called. It was just a segment where he was covering news. And Bill Apter started, he had just written his book, Is Wrestling Fixed? I Didn't Know It Was Broken, which you can get right now, cheap plug, on Amazon. It's an amazing book. And if you guys don't know the history of Bill Apter, please Google him. This guy is, like I said, a historic figure. But anyway, so Bill Apter asked me to do him a favor. He said, Ray, can you please fill in for me today? I said, sure. I said, where? He goes, well, there's this guy, Nick Hausman, and he has a show on WrestleZone. I said, oh, WrestleZone. I said, yeah, I go there. So, it's cool. I get some news there. And he says, just represent One Wrestling. Because I was, at the time, again, I was working at OneWrestling.com. And he goes, fill in for me. Well, it went from me filling in to a weekly gimmick with Nick Hausman. And I was fucking doing this shit every single week. And the fans that were on the network seem to like me. I don't know why, because I'm an asshole.
that is true.
No, absolutely.
Oh my God, that is not nice.
No, he's a good guy.
Talking about myself, but it's true. And so what happened was, I remember we had done a thing with me and Bin had jumped on. Bin Hameen. I didn't know who the fuck Bin Hameen was. And we had such good chemistry. And this was with Nick Hausman. He was on. And I hit up Nick on a private message. And I said, Nick, let me give you a call. I called him. I said, Nick, can I ask you a question? He says, what's up? I says, now check this out. This is funny, guys, because everything comes full circle. I said, is anybody covering TNA? and Nick Hausman says, nobody fucking watches TNA.
There it is.
He says, nobody gives a fuck about TNA, Ray. He goes, why would you want to do that? I said, listen, there's this character right now on TNA Wrestling He used to wrestle for WWE. His name is Matt Hardy. And he's doing this whole gimmick where he's broken. I said, I have a feeling, Nick, that this is going to be popular. Nick turned to me, well, on the phone, I guess the equivalent of turning to me. Like, I could tell he put the phone down like, this guy's a fucking idiot. He goes, fine, Ray. What do you want to do? I said, well, you have the Monday Rebellion or the Raw Rebellion. You have the SmackDown Rebellion. How about the Impact Rebellion? He goes, well, who's your co-host? I said, I want to work with that guy, the Arab wrestler. He goes, he's a white dude, right? I'm like, yeah, whatever. That guy.
Ben.
And dude, we started doing the Impact Rebellion for the WrestleZone Network. But here's the fucked up thing, guys. So Nick Hausman at the time wanted to take... Now we started establishing a good rapport with the fans. You guys know me and Ben were doing a lot of work. I don't know if you guys know, me and Ben were doing a lot of work behind the scenes. And on a personal level, and Ben, I can talk for Ben, had a big creative, we did a lot of shit creatively back then, WrestleZone, that helped WrestleZone get to, I think, in my humble opinion, to one of, it became at the top. It was like one of the top places to go for a daily podcast. By the way, the whole daily podcast shit was more or less me and Ben's idea. And because Nick didn't want to do that. And whatever. So Nick Hausman I'm going to make this real short and sweet. So Nick Hausman got a bit of a power trip. He started stealing, and I'll say it, Nick Hausman, you stole a bunch of our ideas, okay? And he made us sign this paperwork that didn't mean shit. It's the same paper that you could probably wipe your ass with, stating that we would get paid for our services, which I'm still waiting for a check, by the way.
Mm.
He wanted us to, he wanted to put WrestleZone behind a paywall. Are you taking a leak right here live on the radio?
No, I'm actually making a drink right now. I'm pouring another Coke and rum drink, my friend.
So to make a long story short, guys, I called Ben one day, right? And Ben will I think he will attest to this. And I said, Ben, listen, man, we need to leave WrestleZone and we need to do this shit on our own. It was just me and Ben. There was nobody else. He's like, what, are you kidding me? He goes, no, Ben was more like, we should stay with them because they have name recognition. I said, Ben, you are the name recognition. We can build on your name. We can establish friendships. We can establish relationships. We can establish a platform. We started off Hami Media with, I think, 2 shows or 1 show. And that show was the Impact Attack. And from there, Ben reached out to Stevie Richards.
Full circle.
And Stevie reached out to Big Sal. Big Sal reached out to Greek God Papa Down. We got the Conspiracy Horsemen. And then I called my boy Billy Ray Valentine, the guys that I reached out to originally at OneWrestling.com. I said, come over, guys. And then I scoured the internet. And I said, hey, remember those guys? Remember the guys that keep talking to us on the WrestleZone discussion group on Facebook? That guy, Rick Vickery and Michael Jargo? I think they want to do a podcast. Let's see what they got. And look at them. Look at them now. Matt Schaffer. All he did was, and originally Matt Schaffer was a fan of the product, just like you guys, just like you are. You were Nerd.
Yes, sir. I still am.
And dude, I said, yo, let's give this dude a shot, man. Let's bring him in. Oh, he's my co-host over at the Impact Attack. And the same thing with guys like William Alessia. Like I said, Billy Ray Valentine, the Professor, Tommy Wonder. Dude, we have a huge platform where we cover wrestling, conspiracy theories, sports, comedy, movie reviews. Fuck, we got a fucking Star Wars podcast, dude.
I know. A fucking Star Wars one of all things.
We got a fucking Star Wars a weekly Star Wars fucking podcast.
Yeah, I don't know how the fuck he does that. I really don't know how he does that because, I mean, that movie's been dead for years as far as I'm concerned because I stopped watching, after, the OGs left.
Watch your mouth, by the way. Because if they heard you say that, they would explain to you in 10 parsecs how come you are wrong. And if you don't know what a
You said
parsec is,
parsecs.
What's that?
Of course, parsecs. Of course, you said parsecs. I know what parsecs are. I'm a big Han Solo mark.
oh, good. By the way, Solo is an amazing movie. But listen, this is where we are now, bro. Hami Media, we've established this amazing platform where we're growing our audience. We're making great friends. we affiliated. We became affiliated with Vince Russo. Now, over the time, unfortunately, I had to cut ties with OneWrestling.com, and this is why. I'm gonna take a sip of my drink because I'm getting dry.
Oh man, please just get rid of the straw and just down the thing.
How
Just
do
go
you not
ahead.
need another one yet?
Yeah, exactly. He's a
You drink
lightweight.
slow.
He may
man.
be
No.
big, but he's a lightweight.
Do you know how? Did I tell you how big this is?
No,
Yeah.
it looks small. You
Do you
need
know how many
more
I've
drink.
down so far? I am on cloud 9, man. Oh, yeah.
I am 6'2". I am 260 pounds.
We got to talk about that too. God damn it, we only got a few more minutes. What the hell is going on here?
All right, so let me hurry up. So basically, guys, listen, man. We were able to establish this amazing platform where we have all these people that like Billy Ray Valentine, the Infinite Fringe. Dude, I remember I got into a conversation with him, right? Before he started the podcast, and I hopefully he'll put it over. But basically, he didn't think he could do it. And I said, dude, you are fantastic. Like, you are amazing. Of course you can do it. Now look who he's talking to. You know, and this is my love. And let me explain this to you guys. Do I love being on air? Yeah, it's okay. You know what I love doing, guys?
What's that?
I love creating. I love taking somebody who somebody says, that guy Matt Schaffer is just the mark. He's just a fan. He's who is that guy? He just leaves weird comments on Facebook. And I like to take that guy, and I like to prove everyone wrong. I like to show them that Matt Schaffer is a smart guy, super intelligent, by the way, brilliant and creative, and also now look at what Matt Schaffer's doing, dude. That guy, he's living his dream as a television programmer. He's gonna do great things. Jargo and Vickery. Those two guys, in my humble opinion, put forth the most professional and concise product every week on our show. We have high-level shit.
Well, let's not put Jargo over too much.
Seriously, man.
He's a jerk, and he wants to beat us up. He wants to beat us up. He said as much on his own
He
show.
wants to beat us up because you keep running your mouth. That's it.
But I'll tell you what, he is a very sweet man, because we do talk in Facebook Messenger. He's a very sweet guy. So
Jargo,
yeah, he's a very nice guy.
Jargo, I don't think people understand. You know, people, even in the Hameen Media Network, I don't think people understand, or the Hameen fan base or whatever, our family, I call them the Hameen Army. People don't understand how much Jargo actually does. And Jargo is a genius when it comes to putting a show together, writing a show. There are many times that Jargo has had to carry a show. Michael Jargo is the man. And I love Jargo, and I am humbled that we were able to steal him. Because here's the funny thing, Nick Hausman, if you're listening to this, but you probably won't. You told me, who the fuck is Rick Vickery and Mike Jargo? Well, guess what? Guess what, Nick? Who the fuck are you now? Does anybody ever hear about Nick Hausman?
The only time I hear about Nick Hausman is when people are saying, hey, like there's this fat, bloated drunk at a show, and he's just marking out for everybody. And that's exactly what I saw last week. That's at the, what was it, the SummerSlam pay-per-view, right? Mm-hmm. He was like taking pictures with people like, hey, look, I'm here. And that was it.
Yo, Nick Hausman, I never forget this. Remember I told you at the beginning of the podcast that people talk shit to me until they actually finally meet me?
Yes, sir.
Nick Hausman had this fucking thing that he started talking to me like he was my father. And Nick Hausman was staying at a hotel right next to the hotel Jen manages in Times Square. And I knew he was drinking at this watering hole right next door to that hotel. And I went to that hotel. And Nick Hausman, if you're listening, if your boys are listening, if the Stooges are listening, you can't deny it because I did it. I went up to Nick Hausman, and Nick Hausman goes, holy shit, you are big. And I said, yeah, and I'm pissed off. I said, you want to talk outside? Nah, come on. You know, this is all fucking, this is all part. I said, no, this ain't part of shit, Nick. You want to go outside? You want to talk like a man to man? Or are you going to shut the fuck up and never talk to me again like you're my father? Let me buy you a drink. I don't want your drink, Nick. I'll buy my own fucking drink. Are you done? I'll talk to you next week when we do the rebellion. That was just before I left WrestleZone.
Holy shit.
Fuck him. Fuck that guy.
The thing about Big Ray is like he's a very sweet man. But then again, there is a side of Big Ray that you don't want to see.
Look at him. He's got a pissed off look on his face.
Yeah, well, that's a look you don't want to see.
He doesn't look very sweet to me.
Ray, we only got a few minutes left with you because you're a very busy man. So I do want to ask you a couple of questions and there's a couple of things.
I just want to have sex with Jen. That's all I want to do right now.
Oh my God.
I know. So we only got you for a few more minutes. There it is. So there's one thing that I think is very important. And like you and Ben Hameen and Hameen Media in general have a huge bond. And you guys have been doing this for a while, and I've been listening to you. So there was an incident where you lost your job around the holidays. And I remember listening to your podcast, and like I'm a grown-ass man. I really don't have much empathy or much of a heart, but I was really touched by your story. And I was touched by you, before we did the podcast, obviously. But
oh my God!
You lost your job, and
hold on.
Yes, sir.
Are you really telling your wife that I touched you?
Seriously,
everyone here?
What the hell is happening?
I'm
two
just
of you
saying.
are so weird.
Yeah, we're fucked up. It's a Puerto Rican thing, I guess. I don't know. But
all right, on camera, real quick, can you show me the on the doll where I touched you?
Oh Lord!
Show me on the doll.
Oh my God!
In between the anus and the balls.
Oh.
Okay, cool. Right.
God.
So Nerdette, I'm sorry. He's right. Anyway, go ahead, man.
You know what?
Ask
You
away.
can take him.
But
You can take him.
I don't want to go back to New York. He can come here.
Hold on. What do you mean I can take him? I saw the picture of that thing he calls a penis. I don't think I can.
Oh my God!
It's more like a
can't.
peanut.
Seriously, what the hell is happening?
So come on, we only got so much time.
All right, I'm sorry.
He has to fuck his wife. All right. So anyway, so
No. Make love. Anal love. Okay.
Oh my God!
So you lost your job around the holidays, and you had a really nice, passionate post, and you were talking about it, and then Ben Hameen said, "Hey, we'll talk off the air." And a couple of episodes later, it's like you had a really good Christmas, and everyone came together and rallied around Big Ray, and that really touched me. Just hearing about the evolution of like you lost your job as a doorman, you were trying to find another one. Ben Hameen and everyone came together, and you had a good Christmas for your kids, man. And like we've gone through hard times. We wanted to talk more about this on our podcast, like hard times and just growing up and having shitty situations happen. But man, we just went off the rails and we started talking other shit. But can you describe like that time of your life and like how everyone came together to help you and your family and like what Hameen Media means to you?
Well, number one, we don't have to rush through this, guys. So I'm gonna tell I'll tell the story quickly, but basically, in this industry, this doorman industry, my boss at the time, he wanted to hire, from what I understand, a very close friend or family member, and I was the last guy hired in that building. And what happened was he was looking for things reasons to let me go. And this is a fact. And I've never been fired from a job. That's a fact too. And I could have fought it with the union. I did fight it with the union. By the way, our union sucks, but neither here nor there. So long story short, I got into a situation where I found myself out of a job. I'll leave it like that because I don't want to say nothing negative about this guy, even though he's a heartless fuck for firing me a week after Thanksgiving.
Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, the people in that building all protested him, and he told them that I'm the boss. I make the final call.
Wow.
Damn, man.
Wow.
And that's again a fact. But now I might get emotional, so bear with me. Now you're gonna see the nice side of Ray. So I got bills to pay, man. I have a mother that depended on me financially, and I have my son. And my son wasn't gonna have a Christmas. I had to pay the bills. There was no way he would have a Christmas. And I told Ben, God damn it, I don't want to be a pussy in front of you guys. I told Ben, I said, dude, my son has asked me for all this shit, and I promised him for Christmas, and I can't. I said, it's going to be the first Christmas that I can't provide for him. And Ben said, bro, he goes, bro, I got this. Don't worry about it. He goes, do me a favor. Send me a list of what your kid wants. I'm not going to make any promises, but send me a list. And I said, are you fucking shitting me, Ben? Now, this is the day I told him I got fired. And I didn't tell Ben I got fired till a week later because I just didn't want to talk to anybody. If you guys, I'm sure you guys understand, right?
Of course. We've gone through it too, man.
On top of that, on top of this shit, I had applied for what do you call it? When you get unemployment and the fucking asshole fought it.
Oh my god, dude! What the fuck?
Yeah,
I had no money coming in. Anyway, I gotta tell you first. I gotta send a big thanks to Jen.
Yeah.
Because that woman had my back, guys. She had my back. She looked out for me because she knows that I've always been there for her. And this is why no matter what me and her go through, we can fight, we can argue, we can be mad at each other, we can even not talk to each other for a day or two. But that's why. And I had the ring, by the way, just so you guys know. I had brought a ring for Jennifer 3 months before I lost my job.
Oh boy!
And I had that fucking ring. And that December 24th, I got on my knee, and I said to myself, I will never get married again because I was married before.
Oh, okay.
And I'm a divorcee. Aiden, my son, my very handsome son, is and by the way, I get along great with my ex-wife, his mom. But I got on my one knee, man, and I said, Jen, I said, babe, I said, man, I hope we can have moments like this every single day of my life. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, just knowing that you are always there for me, that you got my back and I got your back. And I said, I want to be there for you forever. And I got on my knee and I asked her to marry me right here in this house. And she cried. She was like, you said you would never marry me. But dude, I love that woman, man. And she had my back. And Ben Hameen, I'll never forget this. He made a list on Amazon. And all of a sudden, I get Big Sal hit me up. Hey, Ray. Hey, dickhead. What's your kid really like? He called me dickhead. But anyway.
He calls everyone dickhead, I bet.
Yeah, everybody. Big Sal, Stevie Richards, Greek God Papadon. I'll go down the list, man. But like everybody, Billy Ray Valentine, like Matt Schaffer, like all these guys that just Adam Rivera. I mean, I'm sorry. A dead air is not good for a podcast. It's hard for me to.
No, man. No. This is really good. Like, and I'm going to stop you for a second here because the reason why, like, one of the big reasons why I reached out to you guys was because of this story, and I was always a listener, and I remember hearing this story, and it touched me, man. Like, I'm not a person who really cares much about other people, but that story touched me because, like, we always try to provide for our kids, give them the best Christmas, whatever they want.
Well, we've been there.
Oh God, yeah. I lost my job.
Power that was out.
Yeah. Remember when I lost my job at Spectrum?
I was just gonna say, after the kids were born, you lost your job. Like we moved, we purchased this nice apartment that was expensive. Moved to a nice neighborhood.
And we lost it a couple months later, and I was stunned.
Immediately they downsized and let him go. Like
I didn't know how to tell you the news, and we keep talking over each other, her and I, because like this one really touched us, and like it hurt, man. Like I had no idea what to do, and she stood by me, and like you talk about Jen, it really touches home because like we had an incident, and And like the fact that we've been together for so long is a testament to the fact that we love each other and we've been through the ringer. And God, if you got anything else you want to say about that?
No, that's good.
Well, I mean, like shit like that really sucked. And like we really felt for you guys, and the way you guys came together was like a brotherhood, you know,
Yo,
and
let me
it
tell you
was just
something.
very touching.
Let me tell you something. This is the cool thing. And like, remember I told you that everything comes full circle.
Yeah.
It's amazing because some of these people I never even met. The people that donated, the people that helped me give my son a Christmas. And it's the same relationship I was able to build with Bill Schuyler. Remember the guy that passed away from One Wrestling?
Yeah.
And you guys, it's funny because you guys talk about and so I listen to your shit every day, which I do, and I'm not even bullshitting you because I think you guys are awesome.
Thank you.
You talk about how you live in the same neighborhood, you don't even fucking know your neighbor's name, and you like to be kind of like standoffish, and it's weird because I get that, but I don't see that. Like I don't feel that from you guys. Like I legit felt personally that if maybe we lived closer together, we might be able to meet up for a beer. Because I think you and I, and I'm talking about you and I, me, you, the nerd and the nerdette, we kind of think of, like, we like our distance, but at the same time, our circle of people are very small.
Yeah.
And, but through this amazing, the internet sucks. It does.
It does.
The understatement of the century. Yes, sir.
But through this amazing thing called the internet at the same time, I was able to establish amazing friendships, amazing connections. Through the internet, I was able to establish this platform, but I was able to help Ben Hameen create this fantastic platform where I created this platform at a time where I needed help, but I would never ask for help, but Ben helped me. And my brothers and sisters of Hameen Media all pitched in, and my son had an awesome Christmas. And to end it all, through this amazing thing, which people can use for evil, but I found like really cool friends that I love. Dude, I love messaging you every day. Hopefully I don't become annoying, but
that's awesome.
And the reason why, let me tell you something, guys. Ben Hameen always says, and I've told you this, nerd, and I don't know if you told the nerdette, but Ben Hameen says good people always have a way of finding each other. And I feel that this, first, we're humbled by your sponsorship, but I don't think it goes beyond the sponsorship because we're getting sponsored by other people, but the fact is that I feel that your product and what you guys are putting forth and the message, and you're like, message? Yeah, it's a message. The message that you guys talk about every day is like, hey, we have a right to say whatever the fuck is on our mind.
Yeah, all we do is bitch, man.
Yeah, and that's cool, man. And that's so healthy. It's so healthy to have that platform to be able to do that. And the fact that you guys do it together is one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard in my life. It's probably, in my humble opinion, one of the most romantic things. And I love you guys and respect you guys for doing this. I swear to God, man, you guys may think it's funny, but I'm telling you from my heart, I think what you guys have here is special. And I am humbled, and and I just wanted to come here to just talk to you guys. I don't want to be a guest. I just wanted to bullshit with you guys and just get to know you guys more, because hopefully we can do this again. But I want to be a third wheel, hopefully with Heather Hunter on, but I want to be a third wheel. Heather Hunter, is she going to be there? No?
She will definitely be on this show because,
great.
I already threw out the feelers, and this is the beginning stage of a huge relationship between me and Heather Hunter, and you're going to be on there for sure. And we have other people in mind as well, and we're going to have Vince Russo on next month. So that's going to be like our big fish for next month, I guess, Vince Russo.
Can you guys see this? Can you guys see this? Like, this is shit that these people send me on a regular basis.
Whoa! Oh my goodness! Is she sucking on a dildo bong?
That's exactly what it is.
And she kind of looks like Casey Anthony in that third picture, and that's what we were trying to get for a while.
I don't understand this. Like, this is the shit I get every single day from the Hameen Media Network, and shit like this. Remember this? I sent this to you, nerd.
Oh my God, yeah. So I'm gonna buy a pair of those as well because I'm looking pretty good right now, and so are you.
It's a polo onesie for
And
those that can't see.
Yeah, but I wanted to throw out this whole Stevie Richards fitness thing, man. So I have not tried it, but I've been plugging it because Stevie Richards and I have been in email contact way before we even were going to reach out to you guys. And I was like, Stevie, give me your commercial. I'm going to put it on my podcast because I want to sound more legit. And he sent me the MP3, and I've been playing it for a while. And I've been doing the keto thing, and I was about 280 pounds. And I lost about 100 pounds. And you, my friend, were huge at one point as well, and now you look slim.
Well, I was I was almost 400 pounds, about 380. I was what was that, 386 was the
Yeah.
I was 386.
Big. You were pretty big, man.
And I started, what I did was about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe about 3 years ago, I started doing DDP yoga. But I got so bored with it. Now, it may not have been for me. But Stevie Richards came out with this really cool program because I feel like I need to lift something. Does that make sense? Like I like to do an actual exercise. And Stevie came up with this awesome thing with these resistance bands, which makes me feel like I'm going to the gym every single day, which you basically are, and using these resistance bands. And he has this amazing, it's like an 18-week or 16-week program where you can actually manipulate this program to extend for an entire year. He doesn't charge barely anything for it. Like DDP is super expensive. And Stevie Richards, all you really have to do is go to Walmart and buy yourself some $20 resistance bands. And honestly, guys, I was able to consistently drop. I stayed under the two. Like I'm about 260 now, but I'm a really big dude. Like I don't know if you guys really get it, but and now, like with DDP yoga, I had lost weight, but I had no muscle. Like now I'm
Jesus Christ! Look at this motherfucker. He's fucking yoked.
No, I'm a big dude,
yoked.
and I can't tell you, Jen cannot get her ass off my face.
Oh my God.
You have to get Jen on here, man, because like the nerdette is feeling really left out of place because she's the only female right now.
No, I'm not. I'm fine.
No, she understands. I'm sure she could.
Yeah, dude.
Listen,
But like the Stevie Ray fitness thing, man, like I started off at about 280 pounds, right? And now I'm at about 180, 175, 180 because I fluctuate with the whole water weight thing. Dude, I feel so good right now, and I'm a lazy fuck, man. And if I did Stevie Ray fitness, or Stevie Ray, what the fuck is
Stevie Ray?
I've done this before. We're coming after you, N-word.
Are you talking about Booker T's brother, Stevie Ray?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I keep doing that because I've done this before. It's Stevie Richards, and I love this guy, man. Stevie Richards is a fucking cool-ass dude, and the best thing about his program is he gives you personalized support. If you email him, he'll email you back personally. It's not like a customer service rep. It's him. It's actually him. But yeah, man, Big Ray, I know like we're going a little bit late. I have one last question for you, my friend.
Go ahead, man.
So your wife and my wife have to deal with two horny Puerto Ricans.
Oh, yes.
And my question is this. How the hell do they put up with us, and how much longer do we have before we have to find someone else?
I don't. I say, fuck you, and I walk out of the room. That's what I do.
You know, this is what I've come to understand. Within my relationship, you know,
how long have you been together? 5 years? How long was it?
About 5.5 years now. Yeah, okay. 5 years.
Yeah. See, we've been together a long time. Like, get the fuck out of here.
14 years?
I'll see you later.
Fantastic. Oh, I love it. I love it. You know what's awesome? The fact that you guys, and I love the way you guys talk to each other. And people may find it crude or gross or whatever. Fuck that shit.
We laugh. Like, we think it's funny. This is just how we are in normal life.
And you know what? Fuck the people that get offended by it. Because I'll tell you what. I love my woman. I think she is fucking hot. I think she is sexy. Don't get offended. I love the way her pussy tastes. I love her. She is amazing.
Nothing wrong with that.
Right?
Same way about mine.
Oh my God. Shut up.
And let me tell you something, guys. There is nothing wrong when you're tossing a salad, you get a little bit of that toilet paper in your mouth. It is what it is. It happens.
Oh my God, I can't.
God damn it! Why couldn't this have been earlier? Because now, dude, come on. I love this shit.
Listen, I appreciate you guys, man.
I'm a Big Ray.
You know, at the end of every audio, video, or audio thing I do, every time, whether it's OneWrestling.com, whether it was WrestleZone, Hami Media, wherever I've ever been, I've always ended every show, and I always said this. I always say I would do this for a living, but if I couldn't, I would do it anyway. Why? Because I love talking, and it's whether it's wrestling, whether it's life, whether it's conspiracy, whether it's love. And you ask me this question: why do these women deal with us? I think it's because they know deep inside that we're good guys, and when shit hits the fan, we're there for them.
Agreed.
And that's the most. And not only that, but we're very well hung lovers. And
well hung there.
Go
that far.
Oh God, I just spit some beer out.
God damn it! Are you laughing about my dick on live TV?
Look at his
Let's edit this thing out. God damn it!
She's like well hung for a baby horse.
But I'll tell you what.
I love
you
you
guys
guys.
are freaking funny.
Big Ray, you're fucking awesome, man, and I would love to have you on because, the thing is, you have to introduce someone onto your show with their origin story, with the whole Bill Apter and your dad and everything. But now, next time we have you on, we can get fucking weird, man. Talk about
what? How about this? Okay, so usually, when I'm off Wednesdays and Thursdays, okay?
Okay.
And I don't do shit usually on Wednesdays. Maybe me and Jen will go out Thursday nights. Maybe Wednesdays. Why don't we do this? Maybe in a week or two, I'll just come on and just bullshit with you guys for 2 hours.
Awesome.
Just bullshit. Like now you listen. All you nerd. All you Voices of Misery fans out there. Now you know who the fuck I am, and I know who you are. And please, you can send all your nudes to my Twitter or Instagram at Big Ray's Show. That's BIGRAYSS. That's the extra S is for extra saliva, I guess. SHOW. or you can if you can find me on Facebook, I'm at Raymond Big Ray Hernandez. You can shoot me a friend request if you're not weird, and if you have pants on, I'd probably accept you. So is that cool, guys?
Hey, I guarantee that if Big Ray stands up right now, he's not wearing pants or underwear. So please don't stand.
You want to see?
No.
Oh, no.
No, please don't. Oh, Lord,
she's secretly
man.
looking back at the screen because she wants to see it. And then me and her are going to fight tonight because of this.
The red ball I put in my mouth when Jen.
All right, Big Ray, my friend. So, you've lost a lot of weight on Stevie Ray Fitness. Stevie Richards. God damn it, I am way too drunk tonight for this bullshit. But anyway, my friend, we love you, man, and we love everybody on Hami Media.
Can I plug one thing, guys? Please.
Please go for it.
If you guys are interested, I know you guys, a lot of you out there, conspiracy theories. What the fuck? Listen, guys, it expands your mind. It makes you think. And we're not telling you that what we're saying is fact, but we're saying that, guys, open your minds and just you do the research. But check out our shows because they're fucking entertaining. So listen, guys, if you want to check out awesome shows that are funny, that talk about sports, politics, fucking conspiracy theories, pop culture, a little bit of everything, please head over to hackerhameen.podbean.com, the same platform where you guys are listening to this amazing podcast, hear the Voices of Misery, okay? And subscribe. You don't have to subscribe, or you can subscribe to your favorite show on the platform. Again, I am on weekly on the Impact Attack with my brother. He's not really my brother, but he's my brother from another mother, Matt Schaffer. And
we love Matt Schaffer, man.
Oh, he's the man, bro. Matt is. Oh, I love this kid. He's awesome. And by the way, guys, I produce 3 or 4 shows on this damn platform. And if you have any questions, if you want to start a podcast, if you just listen, if you just need a friend to talk to, man, I've always been there, man. That's why I asked you guys to follow me on social media, or you can shoot me an email at bigrayswrestlingshow@yahoo.com. And if you guys need some help, with voiceovers or me creating an intro for you guys, I'll do that too. I'm glad you guys like the little thing I did.
Oh my God, I fucking love
those intros. I love them.
I'm actually kind of jealous, man, because she loves your voice more than mine.
Oh my God.
I'm really jealous.
So what are we doing? Like a wife swap type thing?
No,
Send Jen over
no.
there? Is that what we're doing?
God, what is happening?
Well, what was happening? Nerdette, excuse me. Me and this guy are talking. So what are we doing here, Nerd?
So how about her and Jen get together, and me and you get together.
Oh God, please! I'm gonna seriously.
We can definitely do that. Not for nothing, nerd.
Right, I am down.
You shave your balls, right?
Oh my!
I will for you, my friend.
I'll do yours. You do mine. How's that? Can we like that?
God, even better.
Even better. This is. Oh my God! I'm so uncomfortable.
Nerdette. This is the beginning of a beautiful, beautiful friend.
I can tell.
All right, so my friend, we are done with this podcast tonight, and I can't wait to have you back on. And if you stay on for a minute or two after we stop the stop button or hit the stop button, whatever the hell you want to call it, we will call this one a wrap. And yeah, man, this is fucking Big Ray Valentine. This is a fucking awesome motherfucking episode, and we're going to have some more people on from this platform, and holy shit, they're awesome. All right, later.
Yo, law infidel, Hacker Hameen here. I just wanted to take a minute and give a shout out to our boys on the independent media scene at Voices of Misery on Twitter. Give them a follow or check them out, voicesofmisery.podbean.com. They're doing the same thing we are, trying to build their platform, overcome corporate media by putting out great content for all their listeners every week. So check them out. Again, Voices of Misery, wherever you get all your content. iTunes, I'm sure they're on Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you guys get it. Listen, because they're hooking us up all month long. All the content you hear at hackerhameen.podbean.com is because they sponsored us this month. So do us a solid. Go back over there. Let's all support each other. And we're going to overcome together this corporate media that is so bunk that none of us want to listen to it anymore. So yo, law infidels, that's not an ask. That's a command. Hacker Hameen says you will follow at Voices of Misery, or else I'll put some misery in your life. Yo, law.
Ring the bell, cause the pain is so vital. He can lose by a count, I'm still retaining the title. You can